Channel RJ Trades. If you have not liked and subscribed, don't forget to like and subscribe. So today's in this video, I think it's very important. I would like you to stick till the end of the video to get all the information. So today I'm gonna talk about one of the best pattern, like the pattern which works almost like 70-80% of the time. It's like pretty much, like there's very less risk and you got a lot of good rewards. And these patterns, I mean, you can see in AMD, Amazon, and I'm gonna go over a few stocks. So this is some patterns or whatever you want to call it, right? So some strategy every trader should know. So basically, let's get it started in AMD. As you know, I really like all-time high breakout, right? So all-time high breakout, and a lot of people are still confused. Is like, do you just buy when something is all-time high, or what? When you buy it, right? So I'm gonna kind of deep dive into it, like go exactly what I'm talking about, and maybe you can kind of use this in your trading and see how it works. Again, if you find something stock like this, a lot of times I'm missing too. I'll make a video on scanners where you can actually like see the scans and which are kind of forming this patterns so that you know exactly when. But I'm gonna go over three stock today: AMD, Amazon, and Asana. So let's get it started, right? AMD, as you can see that, right? So market was AMD kind of, we dipped down with the whole market AMD. So if you look at AMD went all-time high of about 95, 98, right? 95, 98, that range, and then it died down with the market and it was kind of struggling, right? Then it kind of came back up, right? So if you can see that, it's a kind of looks like a cup and handle too, right? Cup and handle too. But I'm not really talking about cup and handle today. So I'm talking about really, so what I'm talking about is when a stock goes make an all-time high and it retraces back, right? So it retraces back, so it almost like 90 to 70, so retraces back about 25-30%, right? That's a perfect actually, right? So it's a classic, right? Classic book, exactly to the book, like it retraced almost about 30-35%, exactly 35%, and made a nice base, right? You call it base. And if you look at, like, you want to see base, longer the base, more explosive the move, they say, right? If you look at the Tesla during like 17-18, it was making that base like 200, 300, 200, 300, like really long base. And you saw that, right? When it exploded almost like 3,000 from $300, right? Not every stock's gonna happen, but you can see like nice gain here. So AMD, you can look into like nice base, right? So it made all-time high up 95, 90, yeah, 97, 98, almost $100. Then it retraced back, right? So retraced back really, and it consolidated and made a nice base for almost how many months? From January to July, almost 6 months, right? So basically from from January to July, so almost 6 months. So made a nice 6 month base, and look at that when it exploded, right? So basically there's two way. I really like this. I really like the all-time high when it make that base and just basically looking for all-time high. But a lot of times what I'm also looking for is like all-time high, it just touched 2 days. So but if you look at like below this area, like 95 area, it tried that several times, 1 2 3 5 days here, couple days here, there's 3 days here, there's 2 days here. So I think this is really strong, right? Once it passed that, that's a supply and demand, right? Once it passed that zone, there's not much resistance. The only resistance you will see probably is all-time high, but you can see that the volume too, right? So there's few things, right? So what you want to do is you want to look into all-time high stocks. There's so many people who want to really fish at the bottom. You can do the value play if you really believe for the long term, but while trading it really doesn't work, right? So while trading, I really like all-time highs, and especially I like if they made a form of base. So a lot of times like, oh, all-time highs, if you look at like AMD is all-time high today, but today is not a great day to buy AMD. Again, it may go up to, but there's like, where are you going to put your stops, right? So are you going to stops here? I mean, if you do here, if you see like it's kind of going down and up whole day, so you may just kind of cut out too, right? So stopped out. So there's not much risk reward. But if you have something like this pattern, you have a nice base for 5 6 months, and then you see boom, right? So if you look at like, if you got in 95, almost like 25%, and if you got in like 99 too, almost 20%. Today it hit almost 22. I actually got out about like 13 or something, somewhere around here. I thought like it's too extended, but they had a massive run today. But I'm not gonna regret. I made like almost more than 100% within few weeks. So yeah, no, I think like 1 or 2 weeks, I don't remember, but that's a great return. But this is really good. And the other thing you can do that is, for example, right, few things: all-time high, nice base. Like you want to see nice base, it doesn't have to make a cup, it can go like up down whatever, but basically you want to see in that range, right? So you have that. Other things you want to look into the volume. Look at that, right? So why I got into this 95 was also because of the volume. The volume was like, during the day itself it was more than like, during the midday itself it was like more than the, basically more than the average daily volume. And if you see end of the day, like massive volume too, right? And you can see that, look at this volume, like every day it's a massive volume. Today you got like more volume there, right? So this is basically not retail, this is basically institutions are buying it. So when you move that, you want to at least, like a lot of times what happens is volume kind of dies down. If it goes up, that's fine, but you want to see it like while it goes through that top, right? You want to see good volume. So you can see that good volume here, good volume here. So this is one of the like best pattern you can trade. And same things happen for a couple other stocks too. I'm gonna go over. So next is Amazon. So this is basically strategy, or whatever you want to call it. You, everybody, every trader should need to know. And if you get some stock, one thing is basically I'm not using this for penny stocks, I'm using this for mostly, right, like good companies, right, good earnings, good growth, right, mostly like SaaS growth. And let's look at this Amazon, right? So Amazon, you can see that, right, almost from like, it was from July, if you look at, right, 29 to 3500, it was just the range bound, right? It was, you can see that really nice base, nice base. It was kind of ranging in that area, right? So I have this support right here, I have this resistance around, and one time I made it like it was probably gonna go like this, and it just went to the point, but not gonna talk about that. So here if you see, okay, so you can, it's very range, right? So we are focusing on this one, this day, right? So if we go here, yeah, look at this, right? So it was on this day, it was almost all-time high was about 35.50 or something. And by the midday or in the morning itself, it just made that 35.60. And you could literally day trade that day, as you know Amazon, right? So Amazon is a great, like if it runs 100 and something bucks. And if you look at that volume, by the midday it was the same. Look at the volume, right? The average is that white line, and you can see that it's almost like double the average, right? That's what's breakout, right? There's all the all the supply was exhausted, there was so much demand, right? So everybody was buying massively, right? Because it was just, the expectation was basically it range in that bound, so it's gonna, next range gonna be 3500 to 40,000, 4,000, right, something like that. But if you look at that single day, it ran all the way from 35.30 to 36.85. If you got the weekly options there, literally you're like 400 500 was worth like 15,000, or 10 15,000 dollars. So a lot of people made bank that day. I traded a little late, I think I was out or something. I got in around like 36 something, but I still was able to make like a couple 100% for that trade. But this was really massive explosion. And again, right now, of course they had a bad earnings, and it was good earning. I think it just like kind of didn't beat expectations, so I kind of sold down. But I think it's really good value still, I mean, if you want to grab it. But let's see how it does. But this was another. Another I'm gonna look into is ASAN, right? I think this was a while back, but it's still ahead. Look at this, right? Asana. So it comes to IPO, basically sold off. Oh yeah, basically IPO 29 bucks, sold off and went up to bottom of like almost 20 bucks and went up all the way 43, right? 43. So basically that was high, right? So that was a high, and then look at that high, then now it kind of sold off, and look at that, it made a nice base. You want to make this, right? Like rather than buying here, you cannot really have your stop where you're gonna have a stop and whatnot, right? But here it's not that much longer base. It's from February to uh, June. June, so almost 4 months, pretty good, you know. Like if it's anything's more than 2 months, so that's why pullback are a great time, right? When pullback happens and it just goes to the all-time high and breaks out, that's when really you can make good money, and you can see from there, right? So once on the breakout day, look at that, right? This was the all-time high on the, it gapped up, and look at that, it just breaked out 43, and you can see the volume, right? 43, boom. And from 43 almost 70, 75, so almost double in what, like June, so July, August, so basically a month and a half, right? So 100% in month into, that's great. An option that could be like, you know, depending what strike you got, it could be like 200, 300%, right? So this is the strategy. If you are a trader, every trader need to know that, right? This is the strategy you are looking into, right? All-time high, good base, then boom, right? And few things. And the other things, other advantage you have is, for example, if you're buying here, where are you gonna put your stop? But if you're buying here, you can put your stop, right? Like, you know, 3 to 5%. So 43 maybe, yeah, maybe like gapped up. So maybe you can just see like if it 41, right? So you're risking $2, right? So if it's a one option, that's like what, even if it's like in the money, right? That's $200 to make basically unlimited, right? So if you're buying stock, 100 stock, that's 200 bucks. So you have like good risk reward, you know when to stop, right? So if you're out, you're losing 100 $200, and you're out, you're not down like 70%, right? So that's a good strategy. So yeah, what do you guys think? And also, if we have any stock doing this, maybe let me know, comment below, I can look into it. You can ping me too. I have all my social media in the description, and if you have questions, don't forget to ask in the comments, or just message me in any of the social media. Thank you guys, have a great day, and thank you. See you guys, bye.